And we're back. Mike Cernovich, Danger and Play, Gorilla Mindset. Here to talk about white privilege. Psych, niggas. We are gonna talk about we are gonna talk about privilege though, and it's gonna be semi-serious. So we're gonna start it off with good hair privilege. I don't have any hair plugs. 38, full head of hair. Good hair privilege. We got some broad shoulder privilege, and I think it's good to think about privilege because the conversation about privilege is ultimately a conversation about mindset, abundance or scarcity. I am immensely privileged. In fact, this list, if you're new here, I'm doing lists on that's a privilege. Do you lisp ever? Well, I do. If you don't, you're privileged because people make fun of me for that. People make fun of Mike Tyson for me for that too. Privilege was abundance. Looking at another person's privilege is scarcity. So I did 10. I've been doing 10 ideas a day. This one took me 30 seconds. It was so quick because I have an abundance mindset. I just thought, what are 10 privileges we all have? So we can start with mine. White, tall, blue eyes, broad shoulders. I can walk, pretty smart, got a little charisma. It's an immense privilege. Now, the technical definition of privilege means it's structural and that the patriarchy confers upon me magical powers because I have this privilege. But whatever. There's a privilege that I think about. I can go walk around at night and maybe I'll get mugged, not likely. Some of that's due to things I earned, and some of it is due to, it's due to privilege or luck. I'm not going to go out and get raped. That's what happens to women. I might get mugged. I might get shot. So it's good, and I definitely have gratitude for my privilege. Now, some of the privilege I have is that I'm not the guy that you're going to go try to start shit with due to, my exercise, gym, and everything, but I'm completely happy with saying that I have advantages, some genetic, some inborn, some that I gave myself that society values, and it's great. But what privileges do you have? Well, you have internet privilege. You're on this. So no matter how hard your life is, you are on the internet. That is immense privilege. I've lived in Vietnam. I've been to the Philippines. I've been to Cambodia. I've seen real poverty. And no matter how bad you got it good. Because you could have it a lot worse. So here are just a few privileges that I've seen in the third world. Arms privilege. So when I was living in Ho Chi Minh City, also Saigon, I would take a motorcycle route through my neighborhood and I would drive down the street and there'd be a guy sitting on a stoop every day. He had no arms. And he would sell lottery tickets. That's why he had his 2 feet and his feet would pick up the tickets, and that was what he did. He sat out, and Ho Chi Minh is fucking hot. Air conditioning is a privilege. And he sat out there, 100-degree weather, 100% humidity, every day. He literally had no arms. Think about that for a minute. Had no arms, and because you live in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, there's no public welfare system. You either fucking get paid or you're dead. You have to find a way to do it. That's a privilege. I'm very happy to have that privilege. The next one I would call it good skin privilege. So I have a lot of things going for me, but if you look here, I get this skin thing, and it's gotten a lot better, but it used to cover my whole body. So you know how many times, what's wrong with your arms? What's wrong with your, every time you get a massage, what's wrong with your hands? How many times I've heard that? And I used to have it all over my whole body. I couldn't even leave my house. I couldn't get out of my bed because even if I moved my arm, because my skin had no natural moisture, it was like skin ripping. So imagine going into a thorn bush or something. That's how it felt. So here's how I treat it. I run my hands under scalding hot water. That way they don't itch. Because if they itch, I claw it off and chunks of skin come off, and then my hands bleed, right? But I'm laughing about it, right? Boo-hoo, I'm so sad I got it so rough because that's scarcity versus abundance. A lot of people, oh God, I got a fucking zit, my whole life is over. I'm like, dude, I had fucking, my whole body was like a leper, and the only way to treat it is I take scalding hot showers, Sometimes I'd run them a little bit too hot, and I would just be, it felt like, what was it, Game of Thrones? Euron Gate, whatever, the Greyjoy getting tortured by Roose Bolton. My skin would peel off. I mean, it would literally peel off, and it would like weep. By weep, I mean it was just like wet, but there was no real skin there, and you can still kind of see it. And today, 4 times a day I run it under scalding hot water. So go run your hands under hot water, as hot as your sink will get. Tell me how that feels. Probably doesn't feel so good, but that's not how I live my life. Oh my God, what if people see my hands? And, that's not how I think about my life. I count my blessings, abundance, gratitude. What do I have? Immense privilege. Next privilege is why? Running water privilege. Running water privilege. I can find hot water to run under my hands. Do you know how many times in my travels I haven't been able to find hot water? And you can't drink the water. So I couldn't even treat myself the way I would need to because these people, but they don't even have water. And then they don't have clean drinking water, right? Which is another privilege. Clean drinking water privilege. You can drink water, or you can buy bottled water and not fucking vomit, get dysentery and chloria, right? Well, there's 800 million people in the world that don't even have access to clean water. I'm taking these hot showers because, my skin is so horrible. My poor skin. Water just pours down on me, right? So I could think, my poor hands. Oh my God, or when my whole body was fucked up. Oh, I'm so ugly. My life. But what I would think instead is like, holy shit, isn't this amazing? I have like unlimited clean water just pouring down on me. That ain't the normal. That's not historically normal, and it's not normal for most of the world. That's a first world privilege, which is another privilege. First world privilege. You take for granted. You have access to health and welfare. I saw a woman, she had basically the skin condition I had, but worse, and she had to sit outside all day, the hot weather, in Ho Chi Minh City, 100 degrees, literally 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or hotter, 100% humidity, and beg for money. I gave her the equivalent of $5 US, and you thought that she'd never seen so much in her life. Privilege. That's 4, not living on the street privilege. You travel to the Philippines, you travel to Cambodia, you travel to Vietnam, you're going to see a mom laying on the street with their child. Does a mom get raped? Does a kid get raped when, this little baby, but when maybe the baby gets kidnapped, so the child pornographers? It's a fucked up world out there, guys. It's a fucked up world. That's why I have no fucking patience for this white privilege, male privilege fucking faggotry, Oh my God, you're a fucking loser. That's why your life sucks. You are a fucking loser. It's the only reason. It's not because of privilege. It's a big fucking dark, scary world, and you should count your blessings. You're not on the street, your kids. Imagine your kid, that mom grows up, what options that kid have? What if that kid's cute? A lot of pedophiles out there, a lot of molesters. That's how shit ends up on the internet, You take that for granted, though. You want to look at what the other person has. What do you have that I don't have? And then you're going to fucking create a narrative called privilege. Scarcity mindset. What do we got? Oh, good skin privilege. We talked about that one. Handsome privilege. Well, we talked about that one. I'm handsome. I didn't do anything. So it sounds like I'm being an asshole, but I have a relatively symmetrical face. My nose is, proportional to my head because my head's kind of big, let's be real. I didn't do anything to have a handsome face. There's no, I didn't earn it. Just like if you were born in the first world, you didn't earn it. You didn't do shit. It's just the ovarian lottery. You got lucky. You got born into a great environment. And it's a privilege. And I tend to just choose to view what I have with gratitude and abundance rather than look at the things that I don't have or the problems that I have. And it's all a mindset shift. And next one, tall privilege. How tall is tall? It depends how short you are, You'd always be shorter. You're not, they're literally, you call them little people now, I guess, Okay, but even a little person born in the U.S. has it better than, you're born in Cambodia or something. What are you going to do? There are Agent Orange babies out there. It's a sad world. That's why you really can't, if you just focused on everything wrong with the world, you would become mentally unbalanced. And that's why most of these social justice warriors are mentally unbalanced because they just focus on what they don't have, but they do it in a very like self-destructive way. They just say, well, Mike's got this, it's because he's a man and people, think he's good, but no, it's not, because we can prove that. We have scientific evidence that male privilege doesn't exist. So there's this guy, John McIntosh, and he is a ghostwriter for a woman called Anita Sarkeesian. And John McIntosh did a video on male privilege, and he said, male privilege means that what I'm saying will be taken more seriously because I'm a straight white man. And then, but this guy has a Twitter account, and he ghostwrite tweets for this girl named Anita. And if you look at who gets the most retweets and engagement and raises the most money, guess who it is? It's Anita, which is the next privilege, the pussy privilege. If you're a woman, go out and tell a group of men that man raped you. See what happens. They're going to believe you probably, especially if you're crying and hysterical. If you just go in, this is why people say, well, nobody believed me when I was raped, because women were like, yeah, I went out with this guy and we drank and one thing led to another and then he raped me. And people are like, well, let's talk about rape. Well, you don't believe me, rape culture. No, go crying with mascara streaming down your eyes, maybe ripped clothing, run up to a group of men and say, that man just tried to rape me. They're going to believe you, and then they're going to fucking white knight for you. Now, don't actually do that, because it's been done. Rolling Stone rape is a hoax. There was vandalism at the rape house, right? There was vandalism at the house where supposedly this girl was raped, but it was all a lie. Pussy privilege. If you have a pussy, men will white knight for you. They will risk their lives to save you. They will believe you, right? You go tell 5 men that I raped you, they're not going to listen to me unless I'm real fucking persuasive, and my life will literally be in danger if you said that. Pussy privilege is real. You got it. You also get the pussy pass. Every study has shown that women, if they commit the same crime as a man, less prison sentence, less likely to get charged, more likely to get a plea bargain. Because what do you say? Oh, I did this thing with Michael, but, he just held this control over me. It's like he had a spell on me. That's what they say. What do? They get a pass. So the pussy privilege is real. Next one is walk privilege. Not everybody has it. I know for a fact there are people who read Danger and Play who can't walk. On the other hand, most of those people who have access to a wheelchair, they have access to, getting around. They're just not on the streets. You will see that in Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. You will see people dragging themselves around with their body because they don't have legs. And you want to talk, that's sad, That's real sadness. But man, life is tough, guys. If you just sit around thinking about your situation and you don't have a broader global outlook on life, you're going to feel sad about anything. I know people who had my skin condition, because my skin now is like pretty much all better. I just got a little bit on my hands. But I would have it, it was my body, my eyes would swell shut. And I was on this message board and I got kicked off the message board. They said they didn't have time for my thoughts. My thoughts were, because people are like, this is the worst thing that happened to me. And I'm like, well, probably your kid doesn't have cancer. That'd probably be worse. That's kind of how I tend to look at things. Like, yeah, I mean, I have the skin thing, but it'll get better, but your kid having cancer, I knew parents, and they lost a child to cancer. The child was a beautiful 3-year-old boy, dead. Kid was like a little angel. They're still sad about it. 20 years, that's sad. Your kid's got cancer, incurable cancer, and you have to watch your child get sick. You take him to the doctor, and you watch your child die in your arms. Okay, that's sad. I don't have time for the fucking bullshit. Always looking what you don't have. You're gonna go crazy. That's why people are miserable. I see this all the time in fitness. Guys who are like, I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I got bloat. And, they got like a 4-pack or a 6-pack and they're like pinching themselves and, it's like they feel disgust. And I'm like, what is wrong? That's why I don't write about fitness much anymore. I just don't like that crowd. What is wrong with you? What kind of fucking narcissistic, self-involved, scarcity mindset, bush league motherfucker are you? But that's how fitness people are, You can't just think like, wow, I have a working functional body, Or even if your body is a little beat up, or you maybe you can't walk. It's like, well, you got a functional mind. And, you're not being dragged, through the streets. It's all about mindset, guys. Fuck. The next one, yeah, internet privilege. We talked about it, and then yeah, I mean, I guess we covered it all. I mean, I could, like I said, I could rattle off 100 privileges because I can just go from head to toe. I kind of came up with like a little poem one day. It was like, you know, because it talked about my own little journey. I used to be scarcity mindset. I remember when I first got my gray hairs. I would color my hair. I look back now, I'm like, what a silly little child you were. 33 years old, 31, I can't remember, but I got gray hair early, and I was like coloring it and just for men and stuff. And then I was like, well, at least you have your hair. Yeah, it's gray, but you have it. Well, there's a guy who doesn't have any hair. He's bald, but at least you got a head, right? Like, there's always a way to get worse, and it's all about like how you choose to frame things. It's like, yeah, you can sit around and say, well, my hair is getting grayer, or people are losing their hair. People lose their hair, they lose their damn minds. But you still have a head, dude. You still have a fucking brain under there. You don't have, your skin isn't like peeling off. There's always a way to look at things, no matter how bad you got it. Guys, girls, it's a big world out there. So I tell people, travel more. It's a big world out there. It is a fucked up world. It's so fucked up, it's better to not even think about it. I try to help where I can. I donate money when I can to charity, but if I just sat around and thought about all the sadness in the world, I would probably have a nervous breakdown. I think anybody would, because that is the world we live in. So all you can do is focus on what do you have every day. And that's what I do every day. And like everybody else, I still have the insecurities everybody has. Am I this? Am I that? Do I have enough this? I mean, I'm a human being, but I always realign myself and I just focus on, what do I have? What am I grateful for? How am I privileged? And I'm immensely privileged, and I love my privilege, and I will never check my privilege ever. The only thing I'll check out is my fucking self, because I like who I am, and I'm really grateful, even with the fucked up skin and everything else. I'm really grateful for life, and I'm grateful that I have my cognition, that I can think clearly. I'm grateful to talk to you guys. I'm grateful to hear your stories and how your lives are improving. I hear from you guys all the time. I have so much gratitude in my heart. But that's a choice that I made, because you could trade places with me, and if you change your mindset to one of a scarcity mindset, I could come up with 100 inadequacies about myself very easily. I could do a thing. I even thought about doing it. 10 things I don't like about myself. And I could come up with 10 things. But I was like, well, why would you do that, though? Why would you choose to focus on things that you don't like? That isn't the decision I make. I make a choice in the present moment to focus on the immense abundance I have, the immense privilege that I have. And that's what I would encourage you to do too. Privilege. Is it real? Is it structural? Is it this? Just what do you have? How can you do the best with what you have? How can you be grateful for what you have? And when you do that, your whole mind changes, because even if privilege is real, it just doesn't matter, because you just become overwhelmed with a sense of well-being and a sense of that you are so lucky to be alive and to have what you have. And then you just don't even worry about what other people have. Do people have more than me? I would tell you, I don't even know. I don't even know what other people have, because I don't care. I don't focus on that. I focus on what do I have. And that's what I would tell you. Focus on what you have. It is a choice in the moment. Thanks for listening again. I will talk to you soon. Maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow.